up getting rained off here yesterday, and this was the next field that we were going to do. It is just a little bit after 12:30. We ended up getting about 3.5, 4/10 of an inch of rain. It came down in a hurry. This was already merged. They tedded it out this morning, and then they merged it here a little while ago, so they were able to shake out a considerable amount of water. It's down it's like 60 to 65%. There's a lot of wads in it just because of it getting tedded out and then re-merged. Got a pretty good sized wad right here. There'll be a considerable amount of moisture in that wad, but we're going to be rolling into some hay that was not merged already yesterday, and it did not get rained on while it was merged up into a windrow. However, it was tedded out, so they re-tedded that, shook all the water out of it, and it'll be interesting to see what the moisture on that is going to be. So we'll keep plugging away here. I've only got a couple of windrows left, and we'll have to see how we make out rolling into that. Be nice to get out of these wads, but it is what it is. So I don't think this hay would have even have gone through the chopper as soaked as it was here this morning. So we're going to keep plugging away. We'll join back up with you once we get over into that other field to see what the moisture is on that. So we are into the next morning here now, just a regular day of chopping here yesterday. We're going to get cows fed. Once we get cows fed here this morning, I do need to run up into the silo and lower the unloader. So we'll have to take some corn out of it. We're running high moisture corn out of that silo right now. I've got both mixer wagons loaded, and we're going to go ahead and dump off our first couple loads here. Well, the sun has just started to come up. We are now feeding dry cows. I have a far-off dry cow load loaded on this 1400 mixer wagon. Just getting ready to pull into barn 9 here. We've got dry cows in one group of this one particular barn. Andrew is up here. He's just started to move the cows over into the stall section, and then they'll come in with the vac truck. They'll vac down through the feed alley side of the barn, and then they'll let all of the animals back over into the they'll let them back over to this feed alley section, and then they'll clean the stall section. So he's got, this is the dry cow section here, and then he is just down into the little heifer section here. Well, he's scraping a crossover. The vac truck will be up here in a few minutes. We've got these dry cows to feed. Now we'll feed another cow load, a small heifer load for the heifers across the road, and then we'll come into here with loads to feed these guys. Give these heifers here, give these guys a chance to get these heifers moved over. There's two different age groups of heifers in this barn. These heifers to our right are all bred, and heifers up into that next group where Andrew is moving animals from one side of the barn to the other, those are breeding age. And then there's a group of bred heifers down the other end of the barn. My niece is up here. She's helping Andrew as well. Alright, so this load is empty. I fill with fuel on Saturdays, so we've got the 7720 filling with fuel. We'll switch that out with this tractor, get this one filling with fuel. Then at some point we'll have to get that payloader filled, and I'm going to pull the chopper up to get fuel once this one's full. So we'll meet up with you at the fuel tank. So now we're just pulling into the barn that is in behind our parlor, and these are close-up dry cows. And you'll say, gee, Andy, there's some heifers in there. Well, these heifers are due to freshen here soon. They're bagging heifers. We have the close-up dry cows in behind the parlor. That way we can keep a better eye on them. And then once they get a little closer to having their calf, once they get closer to their freshening date, we can move them into the maternity pens that are right at the end of, well, the end of the parlor, the end of the stall section here. As you can see, there's a few of them in this one maternity pen. We have one for heifers and one for cows. And we have a box stall there, right there, for fresh cows. After they have their calf, we can move them over into the next pen there, get a couple of milkings out of them, and then we move them over into this group here to our right. So we've got another load of feed to bring over to this barn. We've got to dump about 12,000 pounds or so to this barn in this group. About 12,000 in the other barn to our right, and about 12,000 into a group to our left, in the barn to our left rather. So we are empty. This mixer wagon will get a load of young heifer feed that will get fed in the heifer barns across the road. And we've got fuel going in that 7200 right now, and we're gonna switch that out with the chopper. Get fuel going in that. We've got the mixer wagon staged there. We've got almost enough corn run out of this silo. We'll roll on over into here. Let this down a little bit. And then the 7200 should be full of fuel. We're gonna go ahead and grab the chopper that's in the hay barn, pull that out, get that filling. So I've got my little string indicator on that cable there, and I am just above that one door frame. So I'm gonna have to take a couple of doors out of this silo, lower the unloader here. Once we get done feeding this morning. I think I've got a mess accumulating on the ground here. I've got to get some new duct tape on our spout here. That's just a piece of like nylon type material wrapped around there to make that funnel. And yeah, you can see we're getting a little dusty there. So we'll go ahead and get the chopper filling with fuel. Well, we've got the chopper pulled up here. We'll get that filling with fuel. Come back to it, of course. This is full. We fill up on Tuesdays and Saturdays. So we went through 122 gallons since Tuesday on both feeding tractors. And we'll see how much this chopper holds. We only chopped about 6 hours or so total here yesterday. And we'll see how much fuel this burned in 6 hours yesterday. So we'll come back to this in a moment here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a first lactating heifer load, cow, first lactating heifers are going to go on this mixer, and then a young heifer group is going to go on the other one. I got to put it in one of the ranges here before I shift the FNR to reverse. So we'll get these loaded up. Now that we've got daylight, you guys can actually see something here. So we'll join up with you once we get these mixer wagons loaded, and we'll dump them off in their appropriate places. got both of those loads loaded. We're gonna go ahead and pull the payloader over to the fuel tank. Pull the chopper up to the air compressor. We'll get one of the yard rats to blow that off. And we'll dump them 2 loads of feed off. And then we'll load up a couple more. So we're gonna see how much fuel we burned in the 6 hours that we chopped here yesterday. That's about close enough. Make sure I get that in park so I don't roll back and hit the head. That would probably put us out of business for a little while today. Okay, it's got enough diesel exhaust fluid in it, so we don't need that. We went through 127 gallons of fuel in 6 hours yesterday. So quick math, that's what? 127, that's 21 gallons an hour. So I didn't switch that back, but I'll let you guys do the math. That's 127. Start on the payloader. Make sure I get my goofy fuel cap on there. Now we'll pull this up to the air compressor. And we'll have one of these guys blow this off at some point. Yeah. I didn't end up blowing it off last night. So don't you guys tell anybody that. Yeah, we'll get this backed out of the way here. I ended up pulling that mixer out of the way so that I could sneak this up to the compressor. All right, let's dump off some feed here. Well, we're feeding off our left side now. Then we'll dump about 12,000 pounds in this group. We'll move over to the next barn, dump about 12 there. And then the third barn, which is barn 8, we'll dump the remainder of the load off in that barn. So this load we feed on our left side, the next barn will feed on our right, and then the third barn will be back to our left again. So if we were keeping track, how many pounds did I dump off there? Pretty good, huh? Yeah. Well, we'll just clean out the conveyor. You guys keeping track? Did I dump off enough? We'll get backed on out of here. Go over to that other barn. I let the silo down one more time. Just to make sure that that unloader is down underneath that one door a ways. So we got down out of there. Now we'll get over into this next barn. So we pulled out of barn 5, going over into barn 6. Next barn we go into is going to be the barn that's directly behind the parlor. The reason why I backed out of that group, I could have drove all the way through that barn, but then I'd be on the wrong end of this barn. Why didn't I come in the other way? Well, I could have come in the other way of that barn, the other end of that barn, but usually they are pulling cows across the feed alley at this time in the morning. So rather than risk not being able to get through, it's easier if I just pull in the one end. So this group here, I feed on my right hand side. And this barn has a dead end feed alley. We come up into the back of the parlor and we back out of this one too. It's no big deal. Years ago, the old freestall that we had wasn't set up to drive through. It had a H-style feed bunk in it that a feed conveyor went over the top of to dispense out the feed that came out of a couple of silos. When we switched over to a mixer wagon in I don't know when that was, if it was in 95, 96, somewhere around there. We tore the feeder out. We had an old Harsh mixer. First one that we had was a Harsh 290. And, well, the Harsh 290 mixer that we had to back into that barn. We had a feed conveyor on it, or actually it wasn't a conveyor, it was 3 augers that ran parallel with each other, and they ran on an incline. So we had an elevated feed chute on it, and we were able to get over the sidewall of that 1H bunk. That mixer fed off of the left side, so we had to back into that barn, back all the way down through, move the cows out of the way, back down through, move a gate. We had a gate that came up in behind the mixer, so once we got up to that gate, we'd have to get off the tractor, swing that gate around the other way, back up to it tightly, make sure the cows didn't get around us, then start feeding off. Feed off a little ways, then close the gate. That barn was in 4 groups, so that was set up like an H. And we did that for a lot of years, and that mixer wagon only had about 3 inches of room on each side of the mixer. Tires were tight on the tractor getting in and out of the doorway of the barn. If I recall, it was only like a 10-foot doorway. Maybe it was only 9. It just wasn't designed for feeding that way. So we did that for quite a little while. Up until, boy, we fed heifers in there up until, can't find them, grind them. Boy, that was up until maybe 2015, 2016. So that was quite a long time. We backed in and out of that barn that way. We now have that barn set up with, it has pen packs and it has a feed alley along one side. I dump maybe 1,000 to 1,200 pounds of feed on the ground, and they just end up pushing it on the concrete. They end up pushing it in the barn with the skid steer. So we don't have to go into that barn anymore. Back when we fed in that barn, we were able to get a Supreme 700 mixer into that barn. That might have been earlier than 2015, maybe 2012 was the last time we went in and out of that barn with a mixer wagon. We had to limit the tractor size. The four-wheel drive tractors weren't the handiest going in and out of that barn. We had to make sure we had the wheels moved in. 7710 would go in there, but the 7810 wouldn't. They had longer axles on it. So we've got just a couple thousand pounds to sprinkle off of here. And then we'll grab that other mixer wagon and dump that off. Then we get to load them all over again. We've got four loads left to do. 4 loads left to load. Three loads. What do we got? 1, 2, yeah, four loads left to mix up. So we'll catch up with you when we get over to the bunks. So we do have every section of these barns are in different groups. Now you'll ask, geez, why are they in different groups like that? Why don't you just have them all mixed in with each other? Well, for example, we just got done feeding off a first lactating cow group. They're heifers, younger animals. These animals here on our left, they are later lactating fresh cows. So they just had a calf here recently, and then this group here is mature lactating cows, milk cows. And there's several groups that are what we call high group, and we've got a couple of fresh cow groups and a couple of heifer groups. And we have them set up to where they're closer to getting in and out of the freestall or out of the parlor. They're closer to one alleyway crossing to the other. And being that our holding area only holds so many cows, we kind of have the group set up so that we could just bring one group up in. It loads yeah, see, they're bringing this group here up now, and they're crossing the feed alley. So we bring a group into the holding area, and we want to make sure we don't have any cows in a connecting building or whatever. So that's why we have so many groups. Someday, when we expand, that'll all change. But until now, that's the way we have to do it. So we'll stage this mixer. It looks like we could shut the silo off. That is run long enough. We'll get this mixer staged, dump the other one, and load them again. So we are now down in the heifer barn that is right alongside my house. This has always been a heifer barn. Some of the other barns that we have been converted from cow barns to heifer barns. But these guys here, they are real young. And this is the first that they are introduced to haylage and corn silage when they come into this barn here. So this is just a, well, what they call a 2-row barn. Feed alley on one side, and then stalls back to back on the other. The reason why the barn is designed this way is because this is all we had room for. Some guys, what they might choose to do is not have the barn that wide and have the have like an awning over the top of the feed alley. But being that them animals are smaller, it would make that barn real cold in the wintertime. So this barn here, it was originally only as long as up to where that division is between the two feed alleys where the crossover is. We had milk cows in this barn when we milked on this side of the road. We made all these stalls a little smaller so that they would accommodate an animal this size. So these heifers here aren't quite to breeding age, but they are a little older than the barn that we just came out of. So we clean this barn here, the one we just came out of, with the vac truck, and the barn that we have the far off dry cows in. We used to clean this barn with a skid steer, and there's a push-off ramp right there that pushed off into a spreader, and we daily spread out of here. So this barn, when we built it, was originally only up to that point right there. So we had milk cows in the building that's in between them two silos. We'll kind of show you that here in a second. That was our first free stall. So earlier I talked about that narrow, tight barn that we backed into with a mixer wagon, and that's the barn right there. We have pen packs in this barn and that lower one. This barn here used to be a machinery barn, and it was only as long as where that awning's the tallest. We used to feed in a J bunk outside the barn. So we'll back up here, dump a little feed off, and they'll push it into the feed alley there. So that barn there, it used to have an H-bunk feeder that ran down through the middle of the barn, and then there was a sliding door that we backed into right about where we're backing up to now, and it was a very tight fit. You really had to be on your toes backing into that barn, or you were going to be fixing. So they'll just push that into the feed alley there. They feed some grain in there as well. I know I get some questions on these silos from time to time. We don't use them anymore. We used to put haylage in both of them years and years ago when they were built. Some corn silage. Once in a while, we didn't chop corn every year. Back then, it just depended on how much haylage got put in them. But there was elevators that ran from those silos into a, well, it was a Pat style feeder, and what it had was a tapered floor on it. So it started out at, say, 10 inches wide, and it went down to 2 inches, and it would evenly dispense the feed that it was dumped into it, the length of the H-bunk. The H-bunk only went down about half of the barn, and the other half of the barn, it was an old, it was a hay feeder. It was like maybe 20 feet long. Cows could eat on both sides of it, and we tossed hay into it, baled hay into it from outside. Fun stuff. So now that I have feed dumped into these guys, they'll be able to let the animals back to the feed alley and then clean the stall sections. So this barn that we just pulled out of, this is called a 4-row barn. All of our other barns are 6-row. Four-row, meaning there's 2 rows of stalls on each side of the barn. As time went on, all of us farmers realized that ventilation was key, and it allowed a healthier environment for the cow, and we got away from all these lower barns. Like that first freestall that was built, that was horrible for hot weather. It was just, even the cold weather, you know, all that stagnant air just couldn't get out of the barn being that low. I think that barn there is only 10 foot tall. These other ones are a lot taller. So it's all about ventilation, fans, and air being able to escape out through the ridge. Alright, we'll get this parked, grab our loader, start loading these up. Well, this is full of fuel, and the meter says 197. So how many gallons did we put in here? Oh, and a mouse just run by there. You guys keeping track? I'm sure you'll let me know. Alright, we got a couple more loads to do, 4 to be exact. And then we can run up in the silo, get that job done. We are now loading the last load of feed for the morning. They'll feed one more load this afternoon. And we've got just a couple of ingredients left to put on to it. So we have BMR silage here. We have 14,300 pounds of this to put on the mixer, and 5,500 pounds of conventional silage. Now, we've talked about this bucket that we have on this loader before. This is a push-out bucket, and it holds 7 yards. And it's holds about 7,000 pounds of feed. That was 13.5 when I came to the scale, or the scale had 13.5 on it when I got to it. Now it says 20,008. So I had about 7,300 pounds on that bucket load, and I need 7,000 more. Try to get a big scoop on here. I might not be able to get it as full as I want to because I'm almost out of BMR. Got just a little bit left. We'll push this up, and they will move silage here a little later on for tomorrow's feeding. We can round this bucket up enough so that we go to the mixer with this one bucket load and bring back a little bit and dump it off. We've got conventional silage on our right hand side here. There's just about enough of that left as well. Dump this load of feed off, and then we will lower the silo unloader. I've got 20,008 on the scale. We need to put this to 27.8. Push that out. Scale catch up. We are at 27,000. 27,9. So we were 100 pounds over. No, that's 28,000. So we are 200 pounds over on that. Oops. And we didn't have much left in the bucket. Now we need 5,500 pounds. Of conventional silage. We're going to be heavy here, so we don't need all of this. This is the last ingredient. We are at 28,000. It should say 33.5 when we're done. Very carefully push that out. We're up to 32, 6, 7, 8, 9, 33, 480. I think we only got a couple of handfuls left in the bucket. Dump this out, park the loader. Add maybe 200 pounds in there. So we'll park the loader, dump this load of feed off, and take care of our silo duties. Alright, so we have the feed all fed off. Now we're going to crawl up into this silo here, and we will lower it 2 doors. That's a little dusty here, but it's not too bad. It's usually a little better when it has rained some and it makes things just damp enough in here to where it's not so dusty. So we're almost up here where we need to be. Now, this is where it gets dusty. So I'm going to release the clamp for the clean spout. There. We'll shove that there. Wipe you guys off. 1, 2. Wrap this clean chute in this one door here. We'll climb up, push this guy in, drop that down into there. All right. There's that. We'll clean the door frame out because we need to move a door up to it. We've got our chain undone where that holds the cable from that one tripod on this side, so that the sound loader just can't turn. We'll move our silo cord hanger down. We got 1, 2. Right there. Climb down a couple steps here. Don't put your hand on the top when you do that. All right. There's that. Pull this up to here. Yep. And they're blowing the chopper off as we do this job. So that's nice. I have that done for me. I thought I'd be doing that myself, but Jared figured he would do it. So clean my next frame out. That clean. Step down. Knock a door out. I had trouble last week. I had a door that was rather difficult to get out, and I told myself I was going to bring a hammer up in here with me this week, and I have a hammer that I hang from the silo rings here, just so that I can beat on the door if they don't come out. But I of course forgot it. So we've got our cord plugged back in. Now, mistake I made 2 weeks ago was I did not look to see if the spout right here, wipe you guys off, was hitting the hole. So we've been taking doors out on Saturdays. So first thing Sunday morning, my brother runs the silo for a little bit, a couple bushel baskets worth came out, and that was it. So he had to climb up in here. He wasn't too happy about that, and I feel bad for it. So, put this in the 13th link. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13. So we'll see if that hits the spot. It was not the right spot 2 weeks ago. And I, of course, didn't quite recognize it right away. So, let's see what this looks like. That looks good. So, the one thing we need to do is we need to move this chain around a little bit. There. That might be even lower. How's that? That looks pretty good. So we can go ahead and climb in the silo here. Oh, let's see here. We have fed out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 doors of corn so far this summer out of this silo. So you can kind of understand what we're doing. We're just moving the spout down as we go here. And I can't, like that door will almost come out, but I can't take it out because the silo loader, where it rides along the wall, that will, you know, come out through, get caught in this hole. So that's what we want to prevent. And then it's not good to go more than 2 doors. Years ago, we had a haylage silo. We only went 1 door. But this silo, being it's a little wider, the neck is a little longer, and you can, of course, go a little farther with it. But by the time we feed down 2 doors, that spout is almost straight. And yeah, so this is our clean spout funnel. You guys have all seen this. So we'll just get this over near the door here. We'll reach down. Usually I do this in the silo chute. 2 weeks ago, I ended up dropping this guy, and of course I had to climb down. That was not fun. And retrieve it. There. There's that, and that. Now we will go ahead and climb down. There we go. We'll pull our chute into place. Get our cord manangled out of the way. There. You guys are getting caught here. Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and climb on down. All right, we're down here on the ground. We'll go ahead and we'll pull our clean chute out. Then of course what we do is we can now cut it off at the appropriate length here. You guys are dirty. My word. Okay. Let me cut that off like so. Stick that back in there. Now, one other mistake I made one time because I forgot to lock this door. And what had happened was the spout blew, this chute rather, blew about halfway out the door. And then of course it didn't allow the corn to empty out. And it filled up a ways. Then it fell down. Plugged the auger. Made for a really awesome time. Now we'll climb up on here. We'll grab our string. We'll pull that down. There. Now when I go up 2 doors, I'll know to change it. Which for the past few weeks, it's been a Saturday job. So, as you can hear Jared over here, he's blowing this off. Now, we'll just turn this on just to make sure that we are in good standing here. Maybe I'll hang that there and I'll be there for next week. So we're all running good like. And go ahead and shut this off. So, we'll go ahead and get down to the shop. I can, of course, blow myself off. Oh, you guys are dirty. I've got to, of course, blow myself off here, but Jared has this nicely blown off. Just pull that curtain down there and get up in there. Can you reach that? I can reach it. There we go. Usually I take the hood off, but we only chopped for 6 hours yesterday, and to be honest with you, I wasn't even going to sharpen the knives today, so we'll go ahead and get down to the shop, get you guys cleaned off, get myself cleaned off, and we'll get chopping. We'll go ahead and jump on the old Himiway bike. We'll go ahead and take a ride down to the bunk here where we're filling with second cutting. Whoa! So we ended up pouring. We ended up pouring concrete here this spring, and we are able to push over the top here. So this bunk is filling up at a pretty good rate here. We should be able to fit all of second cutting into it. But yeah, it's last year we filled a bunk this size, which we just started feeding out of it a little while ago. Well, that'll give you an idea of how much is in this bunk here. There was a little bit left in the back, 6 or 8 feet. Last year we put second cutting in this bunk here, and we put third cutting in front of it. So that'll give you an idea of how much feed we have from these rains that we've been getting here. in the month, well, the later part of June. So, yeah. I'll give you another look-see from the top here. So, yeah, last year this bunk, we filled it. What the heck did we have? We put, well, we didn't have enough room for all of the third last year. We ended up putting a couple ag bags down on the old road there. So I'm gonna get to the shop and get some wind to blow this corn dust off. Fitzy has the fuel trailer all hooked up here. And he is ready to go to the field, right? Mm-hmm. Well, why don't you pull that out of the way so we can pull that chopper up to that pressure washer. So with that being said, that is gonna do it for this video. Thanks for watching, folks.